Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm back at Into Moto in Warrington. I seem to be living here. I don't know whether they're gonna put a bed out for me or what, but I do feel like I'm living here. Today I am taking out a nice little sporty number, so let's just have a look what I'm on. Check out this beauty. Let's go around it the usual way. I'll throw some specifications out as we're going and let me know in the comments, as always, what you think of the bike. But for me, it's a nice looking one. Let's do some close-ups. Look how nice that looks. Now, I've got to reference it. The R7 from Yamaha, I've been on a couple of months ago now, but aesthetically this is very similar looking. I went on the anniversary job of that as well, so it does have that beautiful red, white with yellow flashes, and it's just a lovely bike to look at. Nice gold wheels as well, quite subtle on this one. What I do like about this one is it doesn't appear to have been molested by anyone. So I know we all do it, we all change things and adapt things to suit us or make them as we see better. However, quite often it has the opposite effect when you're selling it. And now when you look at this, it looks very standard. It's got the standard can, standard everything. As I say, nothing has been changed on this bike. Love how that flows as well. So there is a seat for the rear pillion, probably never been used, as is always the way with these 125s. It does have rear pegs should you want to take anyone on here. However, in the UK they're learner bikes, so they don't often get used for taking people on the back. Just a side stand, no centre stand. Again, that seems to be pretty commonplace with sports bikes. Engine wise on this, it's a 4-stroke single cylinder. It is liquid cooled, and this bike, I've already said, it's got chain drive and it's got 6 speeds. 11.5 litre fuel tank. So that I don't think is big in comparison to a lot of bikes I've been on, but it is a 125, so whilst it will be fuel efficient, because 125s are, anybody who's got one, let me know what sort of MPG you're getting. For a 125cc sports bike, it's got quite a tall seat. It's got an 825mm seat height. I won't say I can flat foot it, because I can't flat foot it, but I'm 5'8" with a 29-inch inseam. I would say both feet down, I'm on the balls of my feet, so it's not too tall for me. But just bear it in mind, if you are shorter, you might be on your tiptoes. So if you're considering something like this, make sure you try it first. This has got a wet weight of 142 kilograms, so quite light actually. I've been on scooters that have been as heavy, so it should feel nice and nimble when we go for a ride. Let's talk actual seating position, because sports bikes always tend to have quite an aggressive seating position, quite a lot of bend in your back. This bike is no different. You are bent over the tank, so time for me to breathe in. So you are in a sporty riding position. We'll see what it's like on the move. It is quite an aggressive position though. I've been on a lot of these bikes that look sporty, but you are sat up more. This isn't. This is out and out race position, so we'll see how that fares on my back as we're going for a ride. Power wise is pretty much on the limit as to what is legal in the UK, so it is 14.7 horsepower. I think the maximum is 15. We can go up to 14.7, so I would expect this to be right up there with as fast as you can go on a 125, but we won't know that till we go for a ride. So let's do that now. Let me get some keys, let me get my helmet on. Come on, let's go. Now this is the big one for me, and I'm going to call this the big one just purely because there's a lot of sports bikes in Into Moto, and I don't think any of them have grabbed me by the gentleman's place. quite as much as this bike. It kind of grabs me in like a special way that gives me a tingly, happy feeling. And I think it's just because it's an absolutely beautiful looking bike. And I, for one, absolutely love the red and white paint job. I love this 60 anniversary job. And I know that the 60 anniversary job makes this bike a little bit more expensive, but I think it's worth every penny. I am leant over the tank. I am instantly feeling weight on my wrists. As far as the screen goes, because I didn't show you on the Walkaround, you have got your rev meter starting there, going around to the top. It has got 8,800 miles on the clock. It's barely ran in, you might say. No, 8,000 miles. It's been used. It's got a fuel gauge there, you've got a clock, you've got gear indicators. Yeah, there's everything you need, everything on there that you could ever want, really. There's nothing else on there that I think you need. As far as these mirrors go, does anybody remember Dame Edna? Dame Edna, or was it Dame Edna Everidge or something like that? I'm pretty certain that these were like moulded out of their glasses. They just seemed like that. Anyway, let's go. Let's see what this bike's like on the move. Ooh. Now, this feels a little bit feisty. It does feel feisty. Feisty one. My God, am I turning into some kind of Star Wars geek? Feisty you are. Oh no. What has become of me? We're gonna do the performance test, because I do love a performance test. Especially now on these more powerful 125s. Now this one in particular, I think it is just, what is it? It's pretty much 15 horsepower, very close to it. So it is one of the highest horsepower 125s that are available legally on the UK roads. So we'll see how it fares on the national speed limit roads, but I've got to say, going through the gears has been really nice. Goes through the gears beautifully. The brakes on this are nice and sharp as well. Fairly quiet, I've got to say. And I don't consider that a bad thing. It's quite a refined noise as far as these sporty numbers go. It's not got the changed exhaust or anything, it's just got the standard exhaust. Kind of quiet. No, I'm going to say it's kind of quiet. You can hear a lot of wind noise, or I can hear a lot of wind noise, but I just can't hear a lot of noise from the back end. Another dry day though. Look at this. How many days have I had sun on the bounce now? Summer is coming. I mean, it didn't start till October, but you know, you've got to make the most of what you've got, haven't you? Bloody summer started in October. I feel like that's how long I've waited to have a fairly decent stretch of dry roads. You are bent over the fuel tank and your head is not far off actually off this. So your windshield is pretty much, yeah, you're not far off getting your face right into it, but that's just because of the nature of the bike, isn't it? It's a sporty looking bike, it's a sporty riding position. I don't see it as a bad thing, because if you're going out and you're looking for a sports bike, you've got to expect a sports position, haven't you? And this is a sports bike position. It is a lovely looking bike though. I thought that about the R7 that I went on that had the same kind of paint job happening, and I just think it's a really lovely retro look. I think the paint job just sets it off nicely. Oh, a little 125 there. Now, I don't think you can compare that to this bike. This bike is a hell of a lot more bike than that. And I'm not calling the bike because, you know, everyone's got different budgets and everything else, but this bike is on the expensive side of what 125s are. But normally I would criticize that because I think there's always a cheaper alternative that can perform as good. But with this bike, I don't know, because whilst it is over £4,000, it's like 4,299 or something like that, I think it is. They didn't make them in this colour in great numbers, so it's going to be like a limited edition run, which means that these bikes will be in short supply because there's not going to be many of them made, of this colour scheme. So I can see it being somebody's bike that they can just use sparingly and keep and see what happens, because who knows. I'm not for one saying that this bike will earn you loads of money because it'll go up in value, because I don't know. Nobody really knows which bikes are going to take off. The limited edition, it's the anniversary paint scheme, it's got a lot of things going for it that would suggest that you should be alright from a financial point of view. Slow speed manoeuvring, it's nice, it's very well balanced, so kind of just bimbling along with other traffic, it's not really an issue. It's actually quite good to practice your balance at slow speed, but it's weighted, it seems to be weighted really well, so you can just balance it easily at slow speed. Yeah, so far so good. Performance we're going to find out shortly, but it seems like a lovely bike around town because you can ride it at slow speed, you can throw it around the bends. I've been on a couple of sharp roundabouts and stuff, and it just goes, it glides around them with like no minor. Really well balanced bike as far as the cornering goes. Oh, but it's getting windy again, so let's cut to the performance test. I am at my favourite place for doing a performance test. So down this road, aiming for the White House over there. Before I get to that White House, the aim is to get to 60 mile an hour because that's the speed limit on this road. Now that looks like some distance away, but to date I've only had two other bikes manage it. One being Honda's CBR 125, another being KTM's RC 125. So they're the only 125s that have made it. The next closest to that has been Vosges R125, that did 59. Then I've got the MT 125 by Yamaha, which did 59, so 58. So that actually was beaten by the Vosges. That was a bit of a shock at the time. However, this being a kitted out race bike, I would expect it to get to 60 mile an hour. I would expect it to be competing with the CBR and the RC. So let's see how we get on with this. Let's hope it gets to 60. Just for reference, so you know, I'm not cheating with any bigger, longer, shorter run-ups. That's where my grid is, and I always start with the front wheel just past the grid. Now there's a bit of a build-up of traffic there, so I don't want to get clogged up behind that, because it looks like the car at the front's going really slowly and I'll not end up getting to the speed limit, and I don't want that because that's the whole point of this test. Let's do this thing. Well, I never. Now, as expected, this bike made 60 mile an hour. The RC barely made it. That just got 60. So it made 60, but only just. The CBR seemed to make it with quite a bit of distance, and it did, and it would have pulled a little bit more, but I eased off a bit. This was even quicker. It was even quicker. Now, before the bend, there is a tree on the left, which the Honda hadn't made 60 by that tree. It made it just a little bit further past that. This made 60 by the tree. So to give you some kind of idea, the only other bike that I've took down there, other than the big bikes, but I don't really count them in these performance tests, but the other bike that I made down there that got to 60 by that tree was a 200cc bike. So the bike itself was a 200cc. Well, this just made 60 miles an hour by that tree, so that puts it at the top of the pile. It is the fastest 125cc motorcycle that I've took on that stretch. I know there's a big following of Yamaha out there. I'm the same. I don't think I've ever seen or ridden a Yamaha that I haven't liked. I've just always really kind of looked at cheaper bikes and thought, well, why get that when you can get that? And I still stand by that, in particular with the MT125. The MT125 is a great bike, but the Vosges R125 is half the price and quicker when I've done that performance test. So my view on that is, well, the R125 is as good and it's half the price, so it's kind of a no-brainer. But I know there'll still be Yamaha fanatics or Yamaha fans that would rather have a Yamaha, so I get all of that as well, because they are good. You just don't need to spend that sort of money. However, this is a whole new and strange scenario for me, because I've been on this bike now for today, and what I found is, performance wise, this bike has smashed everything out the park. It has. It smashed everything out the park. The closest to it being the CBR that had upgraded exhaust and stuff, so that may well have helped that. Now, I know there's a lot of 125s that can get to 70 miles an hour. I know, I've been on several of them myself, so I know they are there. However, this is more about the acceleration and the speed in which they get to 60 mile an hour. So it's comparing kind of the standing start speeds, and from a standing start, this thing has just wiped the floor with any other 125 that I've ever tried to do the standing start with. Now, there is a trade-off, because for this amazing performance, and it is amazing because it's better than any other bike that I've been on of this engine size. Again, I'm just going to point out, there will be people that talk about their old 125 two-strokes that used to do 500 mile an hour, or, you know, over exaggeration, but there will be people that are quoting figures from bikes of yesterday that used to perform better, and I get that. You know, I know all of that, and bikes have certainly been tamed down a little bit thanks to those boffins in Europe that have tried to make them a bit more eco-friendly, let's say. So yeah, in the modern day world of eco-friendly motors and exhausts, this is the fastest 125 that I've had the pleasure of taking on my performance test, and I've got to say, I absolutely love this bike. I do. Oh, right, excuse the helmet head, and I'm absolutely gutted, but I was having so much fun on this bike that my battery went and ran out on me on the camera, and I didn't notice, so I was talking for ages. I come out with some pearls of wisdom that, oh, it would have changed your life. However, I forgot, and yeah, I probably didn't. I was just talking crap for half an hour. But I think what I'd like to sum up with this, so I didn't want to just end it with the camera cutting out on me, is that This bike today for me has been just an absolute pleasure. Not only is it so easy on the eye, this white paint job's got this lovely little sparkle in it when the sun hits it. The flashes of red, the yellow, it just makes the bike look like an artwork. Then you've got the ride of it. It goes through the gears brilliantly. It's a bit of an aggressive, sporty position for me. It is a bit wrist heavy, but you can forgive that with how it glides around the corners. You can just forgive all that by the performance test as well. When you wind it on, unbelievable. As far as 125cc motorcycles go and the experience of riding one, I to date have never ridden a faster 125 than this. It has just blown the socks off any other 125, and I've been on quite a few quick ones recently. This is just been the best. So it is available here at Into Moto. From a personal point of view, and I've spent all my videos telling you about these bikes and then telling you about you can buy two bikes for the price of this. I did it with Yamaha's MT. What I would tell you is, if I went into Moto now with £4,500 in my back pocket and I had a choice of one of these or two cheaper bikes that are perfectly, well, in fact, they're good. I like the Benelli range, I like the Vosges 125s, I like a lot of the bikes that are in there. But if I could have two of those or one of these, then it's a no-brainer. I'm buying one of these, and it's the first time I've ever said it. I just love the looks of it that much. I love how it rides, even for having this extra weight on the front doesn't change the fact that it is a lovely bike to ride. So on that bombshell, I'm just gutted I haven't got the money to just buy it myself now, but one of you could be the lucky people. It's for sale here. I can't see it being here very long. Anybody who sees this, I'm sure, will fall in love like I have. Oh, what a beautiful machine. Anyway, it's gonna do me. I'm just going to look at it some more, might take some pictures of it, stick it up on my wall. Gorgeous looking thing. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Laters, I'm going for a drink.